Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Like it or not, car insurance premiums have absolutely rocketed recently. And I say like it. Who likes the fact they have to pay more for their car insurance? No sir, not me. But it is an unfortunate reality right now. We've seen a situation where some people's premiums have doubled, trebled, even quadrupled. And also, some folks simply not being offered any quotes at all. Insurers unwilling to back the car they're currently in, which leaves them in a pretty bad predicament. A car sat on the driveway that they can't even use. So just what's happening? Why is it so broken at the moment? In this video, we're going to be unpicking that, discussing just what's going on, having a look at how much I pay for this, the Taycan Turbo S, and also looking at, is there anything you can do to reduce those horrible premiums that we're seeing recently? But first off, we've got to unpick the history, not an exhaustive history of car insurance, that would be a tad tedious, but just recent years. And of course, in recent years, we had this rather harrowing thing called COVID. And of course, with COVID, we had lockdowns, and with lockdowns, we had very few car journeys being made, people's cars stranded at home. So a lot of insurers offering rebates on people's premiums just out of goodwill, because of course I'm sure they saw claims absolutely nice McLaren GT there, sweet. I'm sure they saw their claims drop down through the floor, and of course as goodwill they could provide the premiums back. But also, I'm sure we saw a situation where car crime went through the floor too, right? Because criminals were locked down too, right? Were they? Did we see a decrease in car crime during COVID? I guess we must have, right? If anyone knows, do get in the comments. But yeah, we're in this situation where everything is looking good from a car insurance perspective. And then of course COVID finishes. Well, COVID hasn't quite finished, it's still bubbling away, isn't it? But lockdown's finished and everyone got back on the roads, and it seemed like people had forgotten how to drive. Certainly in my experience, all over the road, taking it very slowly, the excitement and joy of discovering what it's like to drive a car again, myself probably included in that group as well. But of course, with all that came more accidents, more car crime, and everything kind of back to normal. Also, we had this situation where there was supply chain shortages, no parts available, just looking like a nightmare. So insurance costs went through the roof, and of course premiums followed suit as well, rather badly. In 2021 to 2022, we saw a 19% increase in premiums on average. In 22 to 23, it was about 50%. And in 23 alone, we saw a 90% increase in car insurance premiums based on market research, which is significant. Huge increases, right? That's an average double, right? And of course, some cars much heavier hit than others. Let's not mention Range Rover. Okay, let's mention Range Rover. Yeah, they saw a really bad time with premiums, right? Where some people were getting premiums through that were £5,000, £6,000, £7,000 just to insure their car. And why was that? Well, this wasn't based on crashes or claims. It was based on, of course, how easy they were to steal. So theft claims specifically for this brand of cars. So bad that Range Rover had to offer their own insurance to try and get people back on the roads. And ironically, some people with Range Rovers couldn't even get insured through that route as well, which was kind of terrible, really. So they're madly addressing the vulnerabilities they have in their vehicle from a security standpoint, right? And of course, we'll probably still see more of these happen at some point in the future, as we've just seen the worldwide meltdown with the CrowdStrike update on Windows PCs. But vulnerabilities still exist out there. These things with technology are vulnerable. So Range Rover really badly hit. But also, you've probably seen, if you have an EV, a Tesla, Taycan, whatever you're driving, that might have been really heavily affected as well by an increase in insurance premiums. So just what is going on there? Why are we in this situation with EVs? This is a Taycan. I saw an increase in this one's premium, but as I understand, they're not especially easy to steal. Security is rather good. A lot of them have trackers, etc. So why are we seeing this increase in insurance premiums for these cars? Well, unfortunately, it's due to the cost of repairs through accidents. Now, we all know EVs have a battery, right? If you have a prang in your combustion car, it's a known equation to those repairers. They know how much it's going to cost to put right. They probably know what the damage is. And it's highly unlikely you're going to need a new engine, right? If you do, your car's probably written off. But most prangs generally pretty repairable, right? With an EV, it's a little bit different. One of the biggest, most costly parts in an EV is the battery. A huge thing, 600 kilos in this case. It takes up the entire floor of the car. And to replace it in this, about 45 to 50,000 pounds, which is hideous. So if your car is in even a minor prang, you could be in a situation where the battery is damaged beyond repair, and likely to be written off by the insurers. Now, Taycans are expensive, right? So it's going to have to be some significant damage for the car to be written off. But if you're in a more value-based EV, a Tesla, for example, Model 3 or something, that gets damaged, it is quite likely that it is going to actually be written off, because the cost of repairs, the pain in the butt repairing one of these things, is simply more than it's worth to the insurers to get a new vehicle. So you're seeing this situation where this is baked into the premiums that you're being asked to pay for your EVs. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see this continue for some time. Now, I have to say, recently, I think we've started to see these hideous increases level out a bit, right? But it's not going to properly get better until the cost of producing these things comes down, new battery technology exists, and they become the norm. Right now, EVs are not the norm. All these cars passing me on the road right now, combustion cars, EV, Tesla. But generally, they are EV behind me, actually. They're getting more common. There's a Jag, I-Pace behind me. But these things are definitely getting more common, and as they do so, the cost of repairs, I hope, will start to see come down. More independent garages, etc., whatever it may be, just the ability for these things to be fixed get better. That's what needs to happen, right? But it will take some time. So right now, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to look at slightly more expensive insurance premiums. But now, what do I pay for this? Well, I pay just over £1,700 a year on this. But there's a caveat. That is on a multi-car. That is on a multi-car premium. So that is with two other cars. So the cost for this actual car on that specifically is £1,039. So it is the majority of that premium by a long shot. And last year I paid £750 for this car, so it has gone up massively. And that quote was, the whole quote for multi-car was £2,100 before I got onto them and haggled it down, right? Which is what you're probably going to need to do. Now, there was a law passed recently whereby insurers can't offer a lower premium to new customers than they can to their existing customers. So previously, if you had car insurance, you'd be in a car insurance, you get your renewal through, and it would go up. You get online, find another insurer, and it would go down massively. What you might find now is when you get your renewal quote through and you get online, you shouldn't see a hugely significant decrease from other insurers. It's probably going to be around about the same. Okay, there is going to be slight competition variation, but generally you won't see these off the cliff reductions that you might have done previously before this law passed to make it fairer for new versus existing customers. So you're going to have to get online to haggle without doubt, and that's one of the first things you're going to have to do when you get your premium through. Don't just take it, obviously. Get online and haggle. You're also going to have to look at the variables that are taken into consideration. Now, where you live is going to have a huge variance on your premium, and there's going to be very little escaping that apart from moving. Now, inner London is insanely expensive for insurance premiums because there's more theft, more people, it's busier, there's more accidents, cost of repairs are high, everything is unfavourable from a car insurance perspective. Southwest of the UK, Cornwall area, much fewer journeys, much less dense population, much less claims, much more effective for your car. insurance. Also, where you keep your car overnight, is it in a locked compound, etc., is it garaged, etc. That's all going to help your claims a little bit. But unfortunately, apart from the other factors aside, no claims bonus, etc., there's very little you're going to be able to do. Now, Martin Lewis, our Money Supermarket friend, who's actively the one driving these PCP discretionary commission agreement mis-selling claims that are going on right now. We could see some rebates on our previous PCPs off the back of that. Also analysed, well, his team analysed 50 million insurance quotes to find out when the cheapest was for you to renew your insurance premium. And they came to the conclusion that between 20 to 26 days was the cheapest time to get a quote. So if you're coming up for renewal, you should be looking at quotes about 22, 23, 24 days before your current car insurance lapses. That is when you should get the most favourable quote. Now, I'm sure insurers cotton onto this and will pull some levers, etc. But that's what you should be doing to help keep your claims as low as possible. Also consider a multi-car and potentially getting another named driver on that policy with a good record. See whether that's going to decrease or increase your insurance premiums. But those are some of the things that you can indeed do. But unfortunately, given where we're at right now, we are all going to be paying significantly higher insurance premiums until such things as cost of repairs improves, etc., which might take some time to feed through the system. So that is it for this one. Do stay safe, stay well. See you on the next one, and bye for now.